gals, Kate from the Literary Apothecary, and today I've got a special video for you guys. Today, in preparation of the new Outlander book coming out on November 23rd, I have my top 5 favorite Outlander characters, where I'm going to go into just a little bit of detail about them, some favorite quotes that have been said by them, and this was really hard. This is in no particular order. I love so many of these characters in this series. There's so many great characters. It was hard to narrow it down to 5. But I think I got 5. There may be some honorable mentions at the end. But there are so many great characters. It was so hard to get it down to 5. But I thought this would be a fun video, especially for you Outlander fans out there. I will say this is based off of the books, because the show doesn't go into as depth of characters as the books does. So these characters are based off of the book characters. This video will give some spoilers when talking about the characters. So if you haven't read the books yet and you still want to and you don't want to be spoiled, then go read the books and come back and tell me who your favorite characters are after you've read the books. But if you've already read the books or you don't care about being spoiled, you're just here to support me, first of all, thank you for your support. Second, continue watching and enjoy. And let's just jump right in. So the first one that I'm here to talk to you about is Mr. Jamie Fraser. James Malcolm Alexander Fraser. McKenzie Fraser. Jamie is, if you know anything about Outlander, one of our main characters, the main hero of Outlander. He is very, very young when we first meet him. I think like 16, 17. He's a Scottish Highlander in the 1700s, obviously from Clan Fraser, but also part of Clan McKenzie because that was his mother's family. He's extremely loyal to his family, and we see that in many, many ways throughout this series, and different levels of family, different family members. When we meet Jamie, we learn that there is a price on his head for a crime that he didn't commit, but he's basically on the run from it, so he doesn't get killed. He's kind of forced to marry Claire, who is our main character that travels back in time, and he learns a lot from Claire. He first has no idea what to do with her because she's totally different than any of the women or girls in his time period. But he learns how to love Claire, and he learns, once Claire finally tells him the truth about her, that she's from the future, he accepts this, respects Claire for her different opinions, and respects her for the information that she knows from the future, but still keeps his ideals and his values. And he learns a lot from Claire, and we see Jamie's growth as a character through a lot of the different things that he learns from Claire. He's left-handed, which is unusual for men back in that time. A lot of times they're taught, even if they are left-handed, they're taught how to fight or to write with their right hand. If they try to use their left hand, it's swatted at in schools. So he is left-handed by nature, but uses his right hand for many things. He's very passionate about a lot of things. He's a warrior, but he hates to have to kill, and he's completely haunted by his past in so many ways. And so I've got just a couple of my favorite Jamie Fraser quotes. 2 of these come from the first book and 1 comes from a later book. So, favorite quotes by Jamie Fraser. I can bear pain myself, but I could not bear yours. That would take more strength than I have. This quote gives me the goosebumps and tears every time I read it, because that's just Jamie's passion and his love for Claire. A lot of these are going to make me tear up, if not cry, so be prepared for some tears. And then there's Jamie and Claire's wedding vows, which I can't explain why, but they're just so beautiful to me. Ye are blood of my blood and bone of my bone. I give ye my body that we two might be one. I give ye my spirit till our life shall be done. And then the third and last quote that I have written down comes from a later book. I think it's the Fiery Cross, book 5, maybe. And here, in this quote, Jamie says, again to Claire, because he's like, the quote says, when the day shall come that we do part, if my last words are not, I love you, you'll ken it was because I didn't have time. And that just shows you how much love he has for Claire. He'll say, I love you till the day he dies. And if he does it on the day he dies, it's because he didn't have time to. No one let him to. And, like, one of the things that I love about Jamie is he's so romantic and so naive and so passionate about his love for Claire that he would do anything for Claire. He would give up his own life, and he does try at many different times just to save Claire. In an interview with the whole Outlander cast, they did this game where it was, is it a Jamie Fraser quote or is it a Disney quote? Because a lot of the stuff that Jamie says is just so romantic that it could also be from a Disney movie. And so that was my Jamie Fraser quotes. Next character up is, I want to say my absolute favorite. I can't put that to stone because I love so many of these characters, but obviously definitely top 5 because he's in this video, but that's Lord John Grey. And he's one of the characters that you see develop the most throughout the series, and he's just so special and dear to my heart. Lord John Grey is British. He's a British soldier, a British officer. He's in the military. We first meet him, he's a warden at the prison that Jamie's locked up in after Claudel. I believe we meet him in book 2, Dragonfly and Amber first. Though we learn that we met his brother in book 1, who was a soldier defending Claire, whom Jamie let go. This was the soldier that thought Claire was being held hostage by Jamie and Dougal and gang. And they pretended it was just to essentially play with this character. So that was Lord John Grey's brother. And at the beginning, Lord John Grey is a bad guy, obviously, because he's in charge of the entire prison that Jamie and the Highlanders are kept in. And so he's a bad guy when we first meet him, but his character growth, like I said, is one of the best throughout the whole series. And you learn so much about Lord John Grey, and at least I grew to love him very quickly. He became one of my favorite characters very quickly. He grows from being the warden to being a friend, to a close friend, to Jamie's best friend, who will do anything, literally anything, for Jamie Fraser. He makes so many sacrifices for Jamie. The thing with Lord John Grey is he is the definition of unrequited love. He has so much love for Jamie that he gives so many sacrifices, and what kills Lord John Grey, not literally but metaphorically in his heart, is that Jamie can't return the love to Lord John Grey because he loves Claire in the way that Lord John Grey loves Jamie, and it just kills me to see Lord John Grey suffer like this. And the sacrifices, so Lord John Grey adopts William, who is Jamie's son, that we learn about in Dragonfly and Amber book 2, and treats William as his own son. He takes him on as his own son. He pretends to be engaged to Brianna when Brianna comes back and Roger's not there, just to ward off other potential suitors. And then in this last book that I'm reading right now, which is book 8, so major spoilers for the series. I know a lot of people have gotten through several of the books but haven't quite gotten to book 8 yet, so major spoilers for this. This is beyond the TV show, so once you see my hand go up again, if you don't want to see spoilers, then you can come back again. But the biggest spoiler for what Lord John Grey has done for Jamie is that when Claire and Lord John Grey learned that Jamie was supposedly killed at sea coming back from Scotland, Claire is being threatened to be arrested and hung for treason because of her that she's helped with Fergus and family. And Lord John Grey not only offers but goes through and marries Claire to save her life because he believed that he owed Jamie that much. And that relationship that develops in this book between Lord John Grey and Claire is so heartbreaking and special. They're both mourning Jamie in their own way, but also in the same way because they both love him with all their heart. And it's just so incredible to read and watch, and I can't wait to see them bring this to the screen in the TV show because it's just so amazing. And I only have one quote for Lord John Grey, and that's because this quote summarizes Lord John Grey so well that nothing ever will beat it. This is Lord John Grey talking about his love for Jamie in, I think it's book 3 maybe, book 4, when he comes to Fraser's Ridge, but he is sick with the measles, and Claire's taking care of him. And he tells Claire about his love for Jamie because she knows about their past relationship, friendship at the prison, but she doesn't know how deep it went for Lord John Grey. Lord John Grey says, "Do you know what it is to love someone?" And here come the tears. "And never be able to give them peace or joy or happiness. To know that you cannot give them happiness, not through any fault of yours or theirs, but only because you were not born the right person for them." And that quote just hits me straight to the heart because I've been in that position before and I know exactly what Lord John Grey is talking about, and it just sums up Lord John Grey's love for Jamie perfectly. It's just so special. Now, moving on to our next character, we have Fergus / Claudel Fraser. We named him Fergus because we thought Claudel wasn't manly enough, Jamie said. We first meet Fergus in book 2 at the age of 10. He's a pickpocket that Jamie hires to steal letters to and from Charles Stuart when they're in France. Jamie then adopts him as his son. Fergus is loyal and fierce and loving. He falls in love and marries Marsali, who we'll talk about in just a couple minutes, and has many kids with Marsali. He's a very good husband and father, but he has his own faults and he struggles with these faults. He struggles with life as a man and a father and a husband in the 1700s because he can't do a lot of things the man is supposed to be doing, and he struggles with this so much. And the way that Diana Gabaldon deals with his struggles is just so heartbreaking and so real that you can't help but love Fergus. And I love his relationship with Jamie and Claire. He's adopted into their family as a son, but they treat him as a son, and he treats them as they are his father and mother. And the quote that I have for Fergus deals with his love and respect for Jamie as a father. And he says, this is later in the series when he's grown up. And he says to Jamie, when I was small, I pretended to myself that I was the bastard of some great man. All orphans do this, I think. Then I grew older still and discovered that, after all, it was true. I am the son of a great man. I wish for nothing more. And that just shows his growth and his love for Jamie. He respects Jamie as a man and a father, and I just love these characters so much. We have 2 more characters left, and then maybe some honorable mentions, like I said. Next up, we have Roger McKenzie, who we actually meet in book 1 in kind of the future. He is a child. He's the adopted son/nephew of Reverend Wakefield when we first meet him. And then we meet him again in book 3, and now he's a grown man, and he helps Brianna and Claire track down Jamie through time. He falls in love with Brianna almost immediately, and especially in the books compared to the TV show, you see how deep his love is for Brianna and his devotion to Brianna. We see him struggle to find his place in history when they go back in time, and he's almost hung to death. He's hung, and he loses his voice because of the pressure of the rope on his vocal cords. And this is his real struggle, because he is a teacher and a singer, and without these, he doesn't know what to do with himself. He's lost his sense of identity, and so he's struggling to find that. And my quote from Roger is such a special one. People live and die by their words. They shape our thoughts and deeds. Often they define us. Like bullets, once fired, we can't take them back. They have impact, so choose them wisely. Make them meaningful. Live a life worthy of them, especially your last words. They outlive us. And I really like Roger's character, especially because in the books, you get so much more detail and depth of his character. The TV show only glances it. It's like the tip of the iceberg for Roger's character. So if you want to know more about Roger McKenzie, go and read the books, because you'll get so much more, and it's so good. My last character in our top 5 favorite characters is Marsali Fraser. So Marsali is the older daughter of Lairi and the stepdaughter of Jamie, essentially, and she's the wife of Fergus, and she's an amazing mother and woman. She's very headstrong, passionate, and absolutely hilarious. She has strength in physical form and also character, and she is a student and a friend to Claire, and she's a stepdaughter to Claire, surrogate daughter to Claire before Brianna comes back, and she's just a special character to me. I just love her character. She's my favorite female character in this whole lot. And my quote sums up Marsali as a wife and a daughter and a mother. She says, Mistress Fraser has taught me well. She took an oath to do no harm. I have taken no such oath. You hurt me. You hurt my family. You hurt my man. I'll watch you burn in hell before I let you hurt another soul in this house. And that just shows the fierceness and the love of Marsali for her family. So those are my top 5 favorite Outlander characters. Some other honorable mentions: young Ian. I love his character so much. You get so much of it. Also, Master Raymond, and our two dogs. We have Rollo, who just loves young Ian so much and will do anything for young Ian. And oh gosh, what's the other dog's name? The dog that we meet in Paris, who's Mother Hildegard's dog. He can seek out infections, which is amazing for a dog to be able to do. So those are some of my favorite characters also, but there's so many great characters in this series. If you are a character-driven reader, you would love this series because there's just fantastic characters everywhere you look. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I just thought it would be fun with the new book coming out next week to kind of do a fun top 5 favorite characters. I had such a hard time narrowing this down. Every time I put one down on paper, I thought, but I love this character, and I love this one, and I love this one. So hope you love this. If you've read the books or have seen the show, let me know in the comments below who your favorite characters are. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I have a new video out. As always, my Patreon and my Discord information will be in the description below. My Patreon is only $1 a month, so if you feel inclined to support me financially, come join the Patreon. We have a ton of fun. And keep reading, and I love you all to the moon and back. Bye.